99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning to you, Lagos. Welcome to the second part of Dailies today. We're live on Facebook. We're also live on YouTube, so you can watch as well. Nigeria Info 99.3 is how you can watch on Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Sheriff Quadry.
And I'm Jimi. Disu. Good morning.
We're going to start. We've got the papers here already. Let's begin with this story here. From the Punch newspaper is where we're starting. Let's see, page 2 of the Punch. And it's bulky as well. We've got the Guardian inside as well. And we have the Daily Trust inside as well. Okay. The Punch reads, Ajero's arrest saga. DSS succumbs to pressure as NLC plans showdown.
Thank you very much. Sir. The Tinubu administration needs to be very, very careful. The optics in this area of in handling, what would be the subject? Would it be in handling Nigeria or handling the NLC or handling protests and so on and so forth? It just doesn't look right. Okay? Now, Ajero was on his way to the UK over the weekend and he was stopped and taken in. This would be his third arrest. Okay, is that his third arrest in recent times? Okay, don't let's have an argument to be his second. If you take in the invitation, or okay, this is his in recent times it's his third meeting, but this time he stayed overnight, and so if by sheer coincidence he has questions to answer, it's beginning to look like persecution. I want you to note how I choose my words carefully. It's beginning to look like persecution. And therefore, especially with 2 new security chiefs in the saddle, I think there needs to be an agreement within the government on how to handle his own particular issue if they are beyond his calling. That is to say, for example, one of the issues under which he was said to have been arrested was that the petition had been written by Airpeace in 2023. Airpeace came back now to deny, according to reports that we have, that they had since withdrawn and since had some kind of settlement with him. So the DSS has not told us specifically why. We don't have an official statement because the gentleman who would have done that has been, what's his name now? Afunaya, has been posted to some other division. The head of the NLC PR department says that Ajero was taken by state agents without a legal warrant or formal documentation, adding that his current location and health status remained unknown. He's since been released. Okay? And of course, the PDP also have reacted. But let us see the various things that, various news that we have in the papers to get a fair idea. Because it's difficult for one at this particular time to say, oh, specifically, this is why he was arrested. This story from the Daily Trust says that DSS, they are more current. DSS releases Ajero minutes to NLC's deadline. Okay, the NLC had given a deadline that if he wasn't released by a particular time, they call out their people as usual. And so it says he was released. And the story now says again, operatives go after Serap directors and raid Abuja office. It makes you feel uncomfortable. Are we in a democracy or not? What Serap are critiques of the government? Yes, so there's nothing wrong with that. It's not an offense. Usually they critique the government spending and so on and so forth, and they do give statements, political statements. Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, it says that they went after their Serap directors, raided the office. TUC, Amnesty International, Falano, others condemn the act, and the DSS remain mum. Okay, And also speaking about Ajero's travels, one of his lawyers, Maxwell Okpara, said that the Labour leader had informed the DSS about his trip to the UK for an official assignment. He told Premium Times that the DSS had invited Ajero a couple of days ago via a telephone call, but that he told the secret police that he would honor the invitation on Monday, 16 September 2024, upon his return from the UK to Nigeria. They invited him on the phone. He told them that he was engaged with the World Trade Union Congress. He had committed to meeting with the DSS on Monday when he returns from the UK. Now, I'm sure Tinubu won't like the kind of attention he's going to be getting when there's a TUC meeting going on in the UK with the press and everything, and they say, oh, sorry, the representative from Nigeria is not here because he's been arrested. And there is no way people will not align it with the various protests that are coming up. By the way, these are the things that make activists, makes them very happy. You turn them into heroes. But let's leave that for another discussion. And this is that Ajero was grilled for hours at the secret police headquarters in Abuja before his release last night. Security sources who are familiar with the development confided in our correspondent that the Labour leader was intercepted over alleged terrorism financing, similar allegation over which the Nigerian police had earlier leveled against him. That is worrying. So the police have called him in, the DSS have called in him. I hope the army would also then call in him. Maybe the Navy, maybe the Air Force, maybe the NIA. You know, there's supposed to be some kind of coordination between agencies. It's very embarrassing for a government. The two agencies, like in the UK, the Scotland Yard calls you in, the Met also calls you in. I mean, it's a bit untidy, to say the least. And it also says that another source told Reuters that the Labour leader was earlier invited by the police based on issues that border on national security after a petition was submitted against him, but that he refused to honor the invitation. They are quoting the person. It says, our friend and brother, Ajero, knew why our apprentice prevented him from his journey abroad. He was actually intercepted at the airport due to his failure to honor an invitation extended to him by the service. I am one of those who believe that the security services should be given the respect that they deserve. And I am not one who would encourage, if you are called in Nigeria, is a big respect for you to be called in. Lesser minions like us are hauled in. Your house is surrounded and they grab you, take you in there for the same reasons. But I don't know why I don't know why this is the second invitation that he would postpone and lay out his own terms. So it says that concerning a petition filed by top NSC leaders against him, Sheriff, an invitation was sent to him since last week concerning a petition filed by his own NLC leaders against him. And based on this, we had to invite him since the issues raised in the petition bordered on national security. That cliche is a very dangerous cliche. On national security, I can take off this man's shirt. Because when you say it's on national security, I can take off your shirt. Yeah. Once you say it's of national security, you are covered. I didn't mean it that way.
Better.
Don't get scared. I'm not going to tell anybody to hear your chest. I'm just saying that it's a dangerous cliche. When you say on national security, that means on a need-to-know basis. So it becomes brazen. Before I would waste too much of your time, I think that the President Bola Tinubu needs to tidy up all these things. He can do without these things at this point in time. In all honesty, he jolly well can do without all this drama. And it's not going to stop anything. The only thing that will stop any form of protest in this country is improved living conditions for our people and for our leaders to show a good example that they feel the sufferings and the pains, not by mouth, but by deed. So on that note, we can move on to... I'm not taking...
Did they say anything about Serap? Why they invaded Serap's office? I mean, I get it. They're trying to explain why they picked up Ajero and all of that.
Yes.
But how about Serap?
Don't
national
forget that
security,
this
too.
explanation that I read out was not an official explanation, though. It's a source who doesn't want to be named. There is no official explanation. And if you ask for the one of setup to, it will be issues bordered on quote and unquote national security. What is national security? That people should not protest against bad governance? Like I said, it is not an offense to attempt to remove a president legally. It's not an attempt for you to go around the country, get people to get their senators to get together and impeach him. Let's stop personalizing issues. You can't have any democracy that doesn't give you an allowance to remove somebody legally. It also boils down to, there was a gentleman, a lawyer who, I think he used to be a lecturer in law school. And he passed a message on to the Attorney General that this charge of treason should be used in a matured manner and shouldn't be used as an excuse to oppress people. Once you do things under the law, you can legally make an attempt to remove the government. I stand to be corrected. You can. That's why we have impeachment. We have impeachment clauses. We can withdraw senators. We can withdraw House of Reps. We can impeach a president. So if you make any move, if for example you feel so concerned, you can decide to go around the country. So no, that's not an issue for. It's not a treasonable issue. It's not a treasonable offense. And we need to be very clear in our minds about this. And guess what? These things have gone on and on. These same old tricks, arrest, bully, and do all kinds of things. What it does is that it hardens people's resolves. It will not prevent what is going to happen. Rather, it hardens people's resolves, and those who are actors, people get more sympathetic towards them. So that needs to be properly understood. It needs to be properly understood. But and I think that in case President Tinubu doesn't know and nobody has told him, I'm hoping that somebody will hear and say to him that the optics don't look too good at home and abroad. They don't look too good at home and abroad. And I don't think that is the kind of reputation. We've known him to be a Democrat. Okay? We've never known him. And he's been through all this, so he knows how these things work. Without what the military did, they left. With the Al-Mustafa and this one and all the military boys in Apapa and all what the torture and whatever, the killings and the Rogers and everything, they still left. The Lolingbenyi boy.
Danny boy.
Now it's a proverb now.
Okay.
When you just underline the Lolingbenyi boy. It's an Ibadan proverb.
Oh, okay.
What we mean is that the steward will always go. He cannot inherit anything. Okay, so let's go on.
Let's move on to our next story. If you're just joining us, you're welcome, right? Our next story is as usual, because it's Tuesday, is the HealthWise Plus page in the Punch. There you go.
Okay, so what we have here is that in Nigeria is one hematologist to 1 million patients. Hematologists are those who, specialist doctors who are in charge of the blood. And it says we have a shortage of them. But that's just for information. There's not much we can do from this point at this time. This is very interesting. Avoid use of rotten tomatoes. Experts tell Lagos hospital caterers. I would have thought that hospitals is where you get the best food ever put together.
Mm-hmm.
But experts have told them, corruption, of course. If you have a budget for whatever, the woman and the director will take his own, this one will take their own. At least the food in the hospitals is slightly better than what you get in prison. Have you seen a video of food that is served in prison?
Mm-mm. Which of the prisons now?
Yeah, I don't know which one it was.
No, I mean local prison or international prison?
Local prison in Nigeria now.
Nigerian prison.
Okay. Some prisons in Europe. Good English breakfast.
I saw a video of a soldier though, who was showing what they were being fed in the north. In the north, yes.
The one I saw, I don't know if it's the one you saw, again brought tears to my eyes. As I get older, I become more emotional. But that's a story for another day. It did bring tears to my eyes. I just wish God would descend on this country in all his might.
And do what?
I leave that to your imagination.
And change our minds.
When Adeboye was saying that our problem is spiritual, even though in principle I don't agree with him, because he and like him, a lot of our pastors have not stood up for the people at the appropriate time, waiting for daddy to talk to them. But in truth, deep inside, I wish God would descend on this country and change even the pastors and the imams and change them and let them be more objective and truthful to what our problems are. And that God in his might would identify those they are not even drawing us back. They've drawn us back so far, the line is almost cut. Nigeria has never been this bad. Just this morning, I was talking to an average person, and she was telling me that they had in her home, this is the normal, you get for somebody like us, now they've resorted to 1 meal a day. Oh. Even during the war, it was never so bad in this part of town. Never been. Feeding. Yesterday now, to cut a long story short, I'm going to be spending about 120,000 on electricity in an apartment. And I live alone. 120,000 on electricity. Not only just that I live alone, I have 2 homes. I have a day home and I have week home. I have weekend home. It's the weekend home I'm talking about now that I'll be paying, because the least I can buy electricity now, the least I can buy in my estate for both electricity and
other service charges and all.
No, not other service charges and diesel combined. Electricity, just power.
Just power. Yeah.
Yes, the least I can buy now in my estate is 50K. When I heard yesterday, I put my money back in my pocket.
That's at least 50K.
I don't hide my things. I've started putting some of my things on the market. Yes. The reality, if it doesn't hit anybody, at least it has hit me. Some of the things I can do without now, I'm pushing them out. The irony is that when I push them out, what do I do with the money? The money is worthless.
Yeah, it's gone almost instantly.
It's gone. So I say Nigeria has never been this bad. If you are not careful, you will sell a house only to use the money to clear some debts and have a little to buy some small food in the house. It's completely, the dilemma you have now is you cannot save, it has no value. Do you understand? You cannot spend, what are you going to buy? Anyway, this is another one. So, protect the elderly from abuse. Geriatrics urge federal government. And then nurses demand improved hazard allowance. This one is also instructive. Children not having enough sleep risk obesity. Do you know, Sheriff, that even in Edo State now, they can't start schools? Obaseki has put a halt. Say, don't come back to school just yet. In Edo State. It's very, very bad.
I mean, when are they supposed to come to school?
Schools will have resumed now.
Yes, so...
Haven't you paid school fees?
I mean, when are they in
have
Edo?
Have you paid oh boy?
Of course, yeah.
But there are lots of people who haven't paid.
No, what I'm saying is...
Yes,
I am not...
Oh, no, what do But there are lots of people outside there who have not paid. They are sweating. Because the school to have to increase, they are going to pay more power. The school bus has to be fueled.
Yeah.
So private schools are in for a raw deal. But still, that's the story for another day.
Yes, indeed. Let's go to the editorial page. Why did you ask me that question?
See if you have paid school fee. Hey, but an innocent question. Because of the people who said So that people cannot ask you for money. You can't use school fees. Go enjoy it.
That's a brilliant escape route. Sorry.
The look at you saw the story last week. I think it was on Saturday. Pharmaceuticals. I wanted to buy strips. I had to drop it. Now I can't test my blood every day. You have to manage your. It's bad. It's very, very bad. Some people who are supposed to be taking their drugs every morning now take it on alternate days. So it's never been so bad. And that's why the president, if he adds these security issues to what is on ground, he's not going to be finding it easy. That's my advice. Whatever advice he might be given, I know that most of the people around him will be sucking up to him. Because that's how to survive in Nigeria. They'll be telling him they want to. Even his security people they'll be more interested in showing him loyalty than telling him the gospel truth that, Oga, get this country working and show the right optics. But everybody will want to keep his job.
Ajuri didn't keep his job.
But this case will be discussed at 9 o'clock. I think the guy who should have known from day one that he was not part of the inner caucus. But I found it a bit more intellectually savvy than some of the other people around the president. And so it's left to the president to make up his mind who will replace him. If it's that one that we think it is, then we are going from bad to worse. But we'll discuss it at 9. Angela is here already.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know if we have time for this because this thing can butt in any time.
And what is making this noise?
I think it's
I hope it's not a bomb about to explode. I don't have a phone on me, so I don't know what
I was startled when he started. I was like, he's ghosting inside his microphone.
I hope it's not Uru. Let's leave this place.
I just decided to ignore it.
I can't ignore it. I left my this thing at home. I wore the wrong trousers.
Okay. I think you've mentioned this as well, so we're just gonna,
yes. You should please read the editorial. Is protest treasonable? It's not.
It's not.
It's
not by all standards, and Nigerians should not.
And go to my what do they call the TikTok page, and listen to lawyer Tubiyele. His appeal to the Attorney General. He was the Attorney General's teacher in law school, and that's where our public officers must also remember that there's always a day after. And if you're a professional, you need to be very careful. Like in Gelale's whatever, I'm very open-minded. How are we sure he just didn't decide to run away? It's possible. Then you look for a way to package. I've known friends who have packaged their exits from situations that they say that if I continue like this, I won't have a name after all this. You need to be open-minded about this thing. But you may on. You don't agree that it's possible?
I have so many things on my mind regarding that.
Yes.
Yeah, but
he could have left. And usually when you want to leave, he doesn't want any wahala for himself. He put a health issue forward and off he goes. The government quickly. That's why I tweeted that people should be open-minded. I didn't say what the government said was wrong, but I said you should be open-minded. If you want to be. If you don't have that time, no problem. But you should be open-minded about this.
Well, you discuss it in detail at
9 o'clock. Yes.
All right. Lagos, this is where we'll close shop on the Dailies today for today. Just so we all know, protest is not a crime. It's not treasonable.
As long as you follow the tenets of the law, it's not. It's not.
I'm going to find time to bring Kolawole here. That's the Deputy Director of SERAP. Let's talk about their own situation as well.
Yes, it would be nice. It would
Indeed.
be nice.
We must go now, Lagos. Thank you, sir, for coming. Lagos, Kofi is next with the morning crossfire. Sir?
I paid school fees.
Exactly.
Let me go.
You're 99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.